and you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
What? Okay, well, has this always been a thing? Where have I been?
What's going on, folks? Welcome to the Smacked Raw podcast, Friday night SmackDown recap edition. Excuse me. Got too much IPA before the show. Man, we're your hosts, Kyle Tyson and Bama. Oh, shoot, you're not Kevin Crazy. Oh, my God, I'm losing my stuff. Sorry, Bama.
It's all right. You're rocketing your chair too much.
That's what it was. Okay, hold on. Hold on now.
Got yourself all shook up.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's an honor to be back with you.
Oh, fantastic, dude. Yeah, excited to have you on tonight. You were on here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Ended up having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Of course, you're filling in for RN, who I think is still enjoying a well-needed vacation. I'm kind of jealous, I'm not going to lie.
Is he in the happiest place on earth?
I think so. He's in Florida. Apparently, you either love being in Florida or you don't want to be there. It's one or the other, it seems. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But if you guys are new to the show, this is a wrestling recap show. We cover, we stream live rather on twitch.tv/ putting you over every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, covering Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. If you're a fan of NXT, we have our own Twitch channel, Smacked Raw Podcast, where you can catch the live NXT recaps. Katie and RN, they cover NXT over there. Make sure to check them out. And then if you ever miss a live stream, you can, of course, head on over to our YouTube, youtube.com/Smacked Raw Podcast. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. We are on the road to 300 subscribers. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Woo!
SmackDown, Bama.
Big accomplishment. Absolutely, man.
SmackDown,
absolutely.
Man. On the official, does it feel... I almost wish WrestleMania was further away. Because it feels like, okay, we can finally get started on building for Mania. No more stopgaps. And the junk is 2 weeks away. We only get 2 Raws and 2 SmackDowns before Mania, which, I mean, it's good and bad, in my opinion.
Standard pay-per-view build, you know.
Yeah. Are you happy with the short turnaround from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, or do you wish it could be a little bit longer?
Heck no. I'm a big proponent of 4 big ones a year with maybe a halfway point between 1 or 2 of them if needed.
Yeah.
But no, I do not like the only thing I would have said is, you know, maybe if you sprinkle in one Saudi show, Evolution, pay-per-view, something that it's unique enough to where, okay, I can watch this, you know, between now and SummerSlam or now and Survivor Series. But no, I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of building, burning storylines that take time to evolve and grow and make you salivate. Can't wait to see this happen. And unfortunately, WWE can sometimes link multiple pay-per-views together with a story, but usually for most storylines, they kind of ended at a pay-per-view and then they hit the reset button. They start over the next night on Raw or the next Friday on SmackDown. I just am not a fan of it.
So you're a fan of like NXT's takeover schedule or even AEW's pay-per-view schedule. They give a couple months and then do some like special, weekly episode.
Right.
Kind of like, what was it? Like
like for NXT, it was like Great American Bash,
that's the one,
Halloween Havoc,
those ones.
That.
Okay, and then we just had the St. Patrick's Day episode of AEW. That was pretty cool too.
You got an AEW also. AEW does Fighter Fest, Beach Break, those kind of things. So
yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I even teased the idea of having no pay-per-views between Royal Rumble and Mania, and to do like the special Raw episode or a special SmackDown episode as kind of your stopgap in between and let a really long story play out. But of course, that is definitely fantasy booking territory. Nothing no realistic expectations in that one.
No, I agree. You could do a Super Show chamber, on a Raw or on a SmackDown. How
crazy would that be? Elimination Chamber on Raw. The ratings that Raw would get.
Yeah, it would. But the problem with that is that if you did that for the Raw brand and then you had to do it for the SmackDown brand, if we get back to crowds again, you got to transport that chamber across the country wherever SmackDown's going to be to, make it happen by Friday, which they could do it, but it would be a headache.
Just 2 chambers, man. It's all just steel. I think Vince McMahon can afford some extra steel. Yeah.
I'm okay with Chamber being the only pay-per-view between Rumble and Mania.
Yeah.
You didn't need Fastlane. That's where they made a mistake.
Yeah, Fastlane, Roadblock, really on the nose pay-per-views too. Like very uninspired titles.
Yeah.
Just it's like, hey, what's our catchphrase from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania? The road. What if we incorporate that?
The road to WrestleMania? Exactly.
Eventually we're gonna get like scenic route. The
winding tour to WrestleMania.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, the rest stop. You and me at rest stop.
Yeah.
Oh man. Tonight's show was pretty decent. We got, obviously with only 2 weeks, we had to get a definitive answer on what's going to be the result of come of Roadblock, the ending angle where Daniel Bryan tapped out Roman Reigns. But of course, Edge cost him the match after the inverted chair shot. So we obviously had to wrap that up today. Other than that, we got the official start of the Sasha Bianca feud, which, like I said, at this point, it's dead in the water. I said I will go with this. I will piss all over this feud, but then once the match happens, I'm gonna be into the match. You know what I mean? It's just not really getting chills from the feud or anything. At this point, I just can't wait for the match and then see the fallout from it. Our suspicions were true. Logan Paul, is going to be somewhat involved in a WrestleMania story angle. He's appearing next week. That was revealed today. Highlights. No Nia and Shayna, no Reginald. That was kind of nice. So we kind of trimmed some fat there from an episode that we didn't need. And then...
Dude, body shaming.
Hey, shut up, man. That's not what I meant. And then lastly... I think the big thing here was that Eddie Guerrero t-shirt that Dominic was wearing. That junk.
Thank you, Dominic.
Fire.
Thank you, Dominic.
I am going on to WWE shop after this episode and ordering me that shirt. Yes, that'll be 2 wrestling shirts because I
might do the same thing.
I got the Britt Baker one ordered with her face all bloodied up from that Lights Out match. I ordered the hell out of that shirt.
Her Steve Austin moment.
Yeah. Becky Lynch moment, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, no.
Any Crimson Mask moment.
That Eddie Guerrero shirt looked real good, man. I can't wait.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
All right, so I guess let's kick it off. We started we started the show off with a classic Daniel Bryan sit-in. He's so good at these protests. He comes in. We obviously get a recap of the main event of Roadblock. Daniel Bryan obviously explains the obvious to us. That's kind of his character lately, is explaining the obvious. He made Roman tap out. Luckily, Roman's not dead, like Roman proclaimed he would do before tapping. Edge cost him the match, so Daniel Bryan demands a title match tonight because he can't go to Mania. He acknowledges that.
Right.
And then he says he's going to sit in the ring and not leave until he gets what he wants. We get a commercial break. Adam Pearce comes out. Bryan goes on about how, if he can't get a title match tonight, then go ahead and let him get the winner immediately following the match. Obviously, homage to the Chamber. And then when Pierce denies that. He goes on about saying, hey, there's double standard here. I had to go through it. Why not your current champ?
Exactly.
Yep. He pulls off a little bit, tries to be a little diplomatic about it, says, hey, there's 2 nights of Mania. Have them wrestle on the first night. I'll take the winner on the second night. I legitimately raised my eyebrows when I heard him suggest that. I was like, ooh, that's an avenue I didn't think of.
I did too.
Yeah. At this point, Edge, coming out angry that, Daniel Bryan stealing the spotlight here. Edge says, you've lost twice. Anytime I go out and wrestle, that could be my last match. And here you are trying to muddy my waters. He says, Daniel Bryan, you don't deserve it, you son of a bitch. In which point they brawl. Excuse me. They brawl. Edge hits a spear and then lays a chair shot on Daniel Bryan. Definitely showing a little bit more edge to that character.
No pun intended.
Good way to kick off the show. I mean, we're used to the SmackDown opening promos by now, but this was a good one. Nice hook for the theme of the episode.
Agreed. No, I enjoyed it. I mean, the biggest question I had when Edge won the Royal Rumble and wrapped things up with Randy is, are they really going to keep him the beloved, so glad you're back, recovered from injury, you won the Royal Rumble? Are they really going to keep him this babyface versus Roman, which absolutely would work? Because then as we talked about the Royal Rumble recap, then you have the storyline of, Roman coming out saying, you should have stayed home. You really think you have a snowball's chance in hell of beating me? And, and pull all rank, pull Jay, bring back Jimmy, Edge versus the world. They could have easily told that story and it would have been great. But now you bring in Daniel Bryan and the lingering issues he has with Roman. And as we both shouted out, Kenny, for your thoughts, who said that, Edge's neck injury 10 years ago to the day of WrestleMania, April 11th, he had to relinquish his world championship and retire. Then we had Daniel Bryan with his neck and concussion issues and neck issues, and he had to step away, and then no one ever thought he would come back. And then, of course, when Roman left with leukemia in 2018. So this triple threat main event, spoiler alert, triple threat main event we're going to see at WrestleMania 37 will be 3 immensely awesome success stories of guys that
overcame
maybe
their
could
ailments.
have never wrestled again back in the ring together. I can't wait to talk with you at the end of the night about what we want to see happen in that match.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of great ways to observe what we're seeing for this Mania. Where we're lacking in build, it's not really the greatest selling point that, build your own story, come up in your own head with your own reason to want to see this. But that is such a cool thing. I doubt it's going to be brought up
for sure,
because it makes everybody look babyface in this. So it kind of kills the heel face dynamic that you want in any type of conflicting story. But once again, just the fact that we get to see this match just as a match is a wonderful success story in itself. Because at any point in the last 10 years saying, hey, Edge is going to main event WrestleMania definitely seemed unlikely as time went on. Same thing could be said about Daniel Bryan. And then Roman Reigns, of course, after 2018, no one knew what was to come of that. So yeah, it's amazing stuff, man. It's amazing stuff. And I'm happy to witness it. Later on, Roman Reigns and company, Jey Uso and Paul Heyman are watching backstage. Roman demands that Paul Heyman go get Adam Pearce, tells Jey Uso go with him, use force if necessary. Jay's like, are you sure? And he's like, what are they going to do, fire us? Which is a very, very true statement.
Very true.
Yeah. Of course, though, as great of a start to this is, it would not be a pay-per-view Fallout episode if we did not get an immediate rematch from the pay-per-view. We got Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Seth Rollins again. I'm not going to lie, I was only about 2/3 paying attention to this match because about halfway through, I felt like I was just watching the same match.
A replay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing new was added to the in-ring style or even the post story. Seth ended up winning clean with a stomp. Post-match, he beat down Nakamura a little bit. This prompted Cesaro to come out looking fresh as heck in a nice suit, like always. Yep. Gets in a brawl with Seth Rollins. Rollins runs off to Cesaro, calling him a coward, which is, of course, what Seth was saying last week. So this confirms what we thought. We're going to go ahead and get the Seth Rollins and Cesaro feud. It was later stamped in a hilarious segment when Seth is backstage, completely enraged, being interviewed about he's tired of being embarrassed. He's going to go ahead, issue the challenge to Cesaro, and he swears that he will never have to experience a swing again.
Never be swung again.
Only to immediately get jumped and be swung on
within
the spot.
30 seconds. Within 30 freaking seconds.
Listen,
classic.
It's hilarious, and I'm happy it happened this way, because on the flip side, it would have been pretty lame, like, can Cesaro swing Seth again? So I'm glad they just knocked it out. The match is probably, whatever night it's on, I almost guarantee is going to steal the show. Going to be a lot of people's favorite match of the evening. Could not be more exciting.
Yeah. Say somebody real quick, if you're in the chat listening, somebody look up and tell us what night that's going to be, if they've even announced it yet. But no, Vanessa says in the chat, Cesaro versus Rollins will be fire. She's 100% right. These are two iron horse workers of this company. They both almost never get injured. They both are class acts. They both put on great matches, no matter who they're in the ring with. I think it's a rewarding match to see these two tear the house down with each other. I do think it will be innovative. I think they're both going to try to find some new things they can pull out of their arsenal that they can only do with each other. Kyle, I think you can speak to this, that some athletes put things in their back pocket because of who they're in the ring with. Mm-hmm. These guys, because they can work with anybody, they'll be able to pull stuff out that they can only do with each other. And so I'm actually really looking forward to it and seeing what kind of match they put on. And I'm actually really anxious to see what the end result's going to be, because I honestly don't know if I want this match to end at WrestleMania. I think they could easily tell several months of story if they want to, or could this be a, Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels kind of match, and man, this is awesome. And then, we pick it back up 3 months or 6 months later and it happens again. And, we'll just see what happens after. But no, I'm excited for it. It's going to be great.
So I got a question for you and a question for anybody watching in the chat as well. Is this Cesaro's last chance to get elevated to a main event picture? This feels almost out of left field. Wow. How big a program this is for Cesaro. Because if you recall, although a crowd favorite, he hasn't had a major singles program in probably the better part of a decade. The guy has been wrapped up in tag teams between Sheamus and Nakamura.
Not since his Intercontinental title reign.
And even before that, tag team with Tyson Kidd. He has he almost feels like a singles wrestler that has been synonymous with tag team. Like it. Yeah. So my ideal theory is he goes over and somehow earns his way into a title program, either up next or after, if there's like some type of rematch after Mania for the Universal title. But I hope it elevates him to a main event picture and not an Intercontinental picture.
Well, let me put it this way. If he can't get elevated with Seth Rollins, nobody can help him. Seth is the perfect opponent for him, and I can almost guarantee you that was the meeting that was had with Paul Heyman with Vince McMahon. Is like, dang it, who do you want me to put in the ring with him that could possibly show me something I've never seen with Cesaro? And Paul said, Give me Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
If Seth being the guy that he is, he's like, sure, yeah, working with him at WrestleMania, absolutely, let's do it. So I had no, but I agree with you. If Cesaro has the match we think he's going to have, and the very next week on SmackDown, he's not immediately pushed in some way, shape, or form into a chase for the Universal Championship, he probably never will be.
Yeah, I think this might be do or die for his main event status. I mean, I could see him flopping and then, being interjected in like a chamber match or something, but nothing that is centric around Cesaro specifically. Like, I do feel like this is almost do or die for the man. And best of wishes to him and everybody involved.
Please.
Yeah. Following this, we have a segment with Paul Heyman confronting Adam Pearce. He says, you're a smart man to not make a decision on the spot in front of Daniel Bryan. Of course, Adam Pearce lets him know. He's like, listen, there's multiple ways to think about this. I'm going to go ahead and give a definitive answer on what we're going to do by the end of the night. Following this, I don't know how I feel about seeing Big E in a 6-man tag match. This just made me feel all sorts of uncomfortable, man. I did not want to see Big E out there. I mean, they had a good match with Apollo Crews and the Alpha Academy, but him out there being all silly with the Street Profits, it's like, no, you don't get silly with anyone else.
No one else but Kofi and Xavier.
Yeah, man. No, you can't do that. I saw someone reply. They said, well, Kofi and Xavier have teamed up with other people. I want to say they've only done 8-man tags. I know I could totally be wrong. They may have done a 6-man, but I don't remember it. This stuck out way more to me.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And again, I'm not trying to pull anything else by saying this, but the fact that Montez and Dawkins are African American as well, immediately you're going to get a comparison. And with the way they wrestle, it's not unlike the New Day. You have one high flyer and one guy that's more of a mat wrestler like Kofi and Xavier are. So, yeah, you're going to get immediate comparisons there. I've accepted Big E as a singles wrestler now, so it didn't strike me immediately when I saw it. But the bigger thing that I walked away from this is, are the Street Profits still the number 1 tag team on SmackDown now? No. I feel like they're now in the putting everybody else over business.
Yeah. Later on in the evening, I really do believe that the direction they're going is with Dominic and Ray. There's just a better story to be told there. I think with the Street Profits, it's pretty much what you said. They had their really lengthy title reign. Unfortunately, it didn't do much for anybody involved. Now, granted, they were champs in a empty arena whole section, so it's hard for you to build and get that crowd swell going. But nonetheless, the result is you had about a year-long reign. You don't have the belts. We're trying to come up with some creative stuff. So this little feud with Alpha Academy is pretty good. It did quietly transition, though, from the Alpha Academy with Ray and Dom over to the Street Profits tonight, because the 6-man tag to me felt like just killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Create a tag team feud and a singles feud or continuous singles feud all in the same time, instead of...
Right.
Yeah, because, I mean, at no point did I take it serious like Big E is going to be regularly paired with the Street Profits. Just felt like they were like, listen, we don't have enough time for 2 matches, so we're just going to combine them. Which Apollo...
Dude, how about that? How about that flip over into a Northern Light suplex from Chad Gable? Holy cow.
Yeah, WWE, you better make sure you lock Gable down, because he will flourish in other promotions. I'm not just going to say AEW, but other people will utilize the hell out of that guy.
Dude, if he would to Ring of Honor tomorrow, he's immediately in the title push.
Yeah,
he would work every. Can you imagine Chad Gable and Jay Lethal? The match they would have.
Yeah, man.
My gosh,
it's kind of like when he reminds me. Obviously, everyone draws the parallels with Kurt Angle, but not so much from the character-wise and everything too. But the fact that if you let that guy be legit, he could stretch half of, if not 3/4 your roster.
Yes.
And that was the thing about Kurt Angle too. Everybody knew, like, hey, don't mess with Kurt Angle backstage. This guy will legit stretch you out. I feel the same way about Gable. Like, I bet there's such an intensity there that we haven't seen tapped into. Which, I mean,
it's so cool. It's so cool too that he and Otis were both amateur wrestlers. They both were, heavy competitors in what they did. I honestly thought, why the heck is Kurt Angle picking, Baron Corbin as his final match? If you're going to pass your torch, pass it to Chad Gable. Make that man take the medal off your neck and put it on him and let him wear the red, white, and blue. I mean, that's a moment that, everybody needed and wanted to see, because I agree. He uses the ankle lock. He uses the German suplex. He uses the mat spinovers. Everything that Kurt Angle did, Chad Gable does it. Mm-hmm. So why Vince didn't see that when he should have, I don't know. But
my
to
thought
me,
was
yeah.
Sometimes they don't like to go with the too obvious. Sometimes they want to swerve for the sake of swerving. And at the time, they were investing heavily in Corbin. Remember, if it hadn't been for Corbin accidentally insulting a member of the U.S. military on Twitter, he would have been world champ by now. Like, that's the thing a lot of people overlook is, like, their plans were, granted, plans can always change. But plans at the time were, look, we're going to make this guy champ. And then he had a Twitter blunder, and they cooled on him for a bit. But I feel like Corbin's always been a guy that is just loaded in the chamber for WWE. At some point, just whenever they get bored, they're going to fire him to the top. Whether you like it or not, at some point, that man's going to be world champ.
Probably post-Mania now. He wasn't even on tonight's episode, so they're probably holding him off until the show's over, and then we'll maybe see him come out in his hopefully less crown and more suit-driven gimmick.
Give that dude Ric Flair's gimmick, man. Give him Ric Flair's gimmick. That guy could rock the heck out of being so egotistical with expensive suits and watches. Did you see the WWE exclusive moment with Sami Zayn confronting him after their
yes,
funny
I did see
match?
That.
And Sammy was starting to make sense about the whole conspiracy. Like, look how they build us. It's like, you only took that flack because of me. They love you.
Right.
But looking at a serious Corbin, he didn't have any gimmick or anything to his attitude, was like, damn, there's something there, man. If this guy just doesn't have to go, if he's not over the top,
Right.
I don't know. I think so. There's a lot of interesting stories that could definitely be told around a lot of these guys.
Agreed.
Yeah. Once again, though, I was gonna say,
just give me some intelligent writers to do it.
Yeah, and let them convince Vince. That's the important part. Let Vince approve it. Adam Pearce, more Adam Pearce stuff. Just with Edge this time, just saying, let me go over all the details. Essentially, throughout the whole night, Adam Pearce is confronted by all three members: Roman Reigns, Heyman, Edge, and Daniel Bryan, and he says the same thing to all of them. Like, look, I'll give you one answer later. Sami Zayn,
which is great, makes me keep watching, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, it was really the hook for the night, as obvious as it was, but it was a good hook nonetheless. I don't know how good of a hook this is. Sami Zayn is going to have his red carpet rollout for his documentary trailer next week, which, by the way, I've been so excited for, because if you have your official producers making a video package for Sami Zayn, this could only be incredible.
I agree.
Sami Zayn confirms that the Twitter banter between him and Logan Paul will result in a Logan Paul appearance. Who is Logan Paul going to beat up? He's going to beat up somebody. It's not going to be, it won't be Logan Paul getting beat up. He's going to beat up some mid-carder who's on SmackDown that Logan Paul can knock out or something.
Wow. Okay. Give me his dimensions. How tall is he? What's his background?
About 6'2", really cocky YouTuber, but he's chiseled. They hail him and his brother as boxers. They're surprisingly legitimately good boxers, even though they're not professionals.
Well, dude, you know who the answer is then, right?
Who's that?
Give me the Golden Gloves competitor, Baron Corbin. Give me Baron Corbin.
Oh, man. Yeah, and he's already wrapped up with Sammy a little bit, too.
Yeah, he's wrapped up. Yeah, he got nothing to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolute sense.
He can get punched by Logan Paul. Oh, man.
They might let him shoot. They might let him shoot fight.
Oh, you can't do that. Not ever since, what was it, Bart Gunn. I can't have that happen no more.
Oh, come on. You don't think Floyd Mayweather and the Big Show wasn't a shoot?
Oh, that was I love how Big Show put it. Big Show said, punch me. Like legit shoot punch me.
Yeah. Let me have it, dude.
Then get the F out.
Exactly. Exactly.
This, of course, is all being presented on the Kevin Owens show. Kevin Owens doesn't care about any of this. He only invited Sammy out for one reason, and the only reason he's not beating the hell out of Sammy is because he wants a match at Mania. He gets in Sammy's face. Sammy agrees to the match, at which point Kevin Owens reiterates, "Thank you. Only reason I didn't beat you up is because I wanted the match. Now that I have it, I'm gonna beat you up." They end up brawling. It was nice little bit. It's funny, like some feuds you want to die, and then some other feuds, like I don't know how they do it, but people still froth at the mouth. These guys have been fighting for over a decade. They fought forever in WWE. NXT main roster fighting again, and it's still gonna be awesome.
This is the ultra chemistry. This is Eddie versus Chris Benoit. This is The Rock versus Stone Cold. This is Shawn versus Brett. This is, I mean, fill in the blank. Any two people that anytime they touch, it's always magic. That's what Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are. They know each other so well. They're practically brothers, and they're going to give everything they have to each other. They're going to take everything they have from each other. KO will jump off that ship onto him in some way, shape, or form. It's got to happen. And now here's the question I want to throw to you. Who do you have go over?
Oh, man. That's a tough one.
I know.
Sammy,
the moment the match was announced, that immediately hit my brain. Holy crap! Who do I want to win this, and why?
Yeah, my gut tells me there's a bigger story for Sammy than there is Kevin Owens. Sammy's had the same story running for months now. Kevin just got interjected into it, like right here towards the end. So you kind of want to see Sammy go over, in my opinion. Plus, Sammy has never been able to get himself quite to the pinnacle that Kevin Owens did,
right,
in a world title picture, so I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. To tell you the truth, I feel like as quickly as we're going to get hot for this, if they keep it going, I think people will sour on it. Like, I think it'll be a quick turnaround for the public eye. Like, we will go from white hot, let's get this match. WrestleMania, especially if Kevin Owens jumps off a ship, you have nothing else to top at that point. You can't top it. So if WWE gives Sammy a win but wants to give Kevin Owens one back, then all of a sudden I think people will shift. So I would say, with that being said, ideally I'd give Sammy a win, and then either they separate and do their own thing, or I don't know, call up some people, and mix it up. But just make sure you don't wear it out,
Yeah,
that's all.
No, for real. I 100% agree. I think the one thing that has me intrigued is one thing that has been a part of KO's story the past year is the reason he and Orton had a little spat is because one of Kevin Owens' dreams is to be in the ring with Edge. And if, for happen, KO wins this and Edge wins, that's an obvious next move. But we don't know how that's all going to look. I agree with you. I think right now, as we look at things right now in the current picture, Sammy makes the most sense. Yeah. Especially if they're going to unveil this documentary, mockumentary, whatever you want to call it, that they're going to unleash for him. They're probably going to do that the week of WrestleMania, which means all that comes out of that is going to be for what happens after WrestleMania. Nice. So yeah, I agree. Now, if KO can go over, but Sammy can get over to the nth degree and have something to build off of, then okay. But no, I agree with you. It probably should be Sammy.
All right, so got to ask you, because a reoccurring joke on here is how Natalya ends up in all of the WWE documentaries. Do you think Natalya winds up in the Sami Zayn conspiracy documentary?
He's Canadian. She's Canadian. She's gonna be in it.
That was like one of the only reasons I was wishing RN would be here, because that's one of his consistent complaints is that Natalya finds herself in every behind the scenes documentary. Oh man,
I get it. It's 100% true. And there has been a conspiracy that Natty has been the good hand, always helping everybody else get over, and she's never had a true push for the main picture. And now she and Tamina are going to be probably challenging Nia and Shayna for the tag team championships here in the near future. But now I get why you and RN can't stand her. I personally am indifferent towards Natalya. I think I respect her longevity. I respect what she's done for women's wrestling.
I'm apathetic for her, man, and that's not I just don't feel anything. I hate to say it, man. I try to be Mr. Positive. I really do, to the point where it's annoying because I'm actually like uncomfortable ever taking shots at people, like legitimate shots. Anytime you hear me giving it to you, I do it in good fun. But with Natalya, I legitimately mean it. Like, if she's on screen, God, I don't care. I really don't care. I feel like
WWE's trying to make up for lost time with her, because when she was in her prime, the WWE didn't give a care for women's wrestling. So I feel like now that they kind of do, they're trying to make it up to her by going, look, all the time we took away from you, or didn't let you have long matches, or didn't let you be able to show off all you could do. Exactly. For all the crap we put you through, hey, get out there and have a good match with Lacey. Get out there and have a good match with Sasha, with Bianca, with all these girls, whatever. And Natty's now, like RN said, she's Mama Natty. She's live, laugh, love Natty. And so I'm sorry. Can Natty stretch any of these girls? Yes. Can she beat any of these girls? Yes. But do we want to see Natty as the top girl in the WWE? No. There's 5 or 6 other girls right now I would rattle off that I'd rather see as the top of the WWE food chain than Natty, namely Becky Lynch. So, I'm sorry, Natty. I get it. I love you. I'll always love you. You're going to be probably always in my top 10 favorite female wrestlers of all time. But no, I don't like seeing you everywhere all the time. I don't.
So here's my one exception, and it kind of wraps up nicely into the next portion of the show. We got interview Bianca Belair backstage. Why didn't she react at Mania? That was one of the big criticizing moments, that she looked weak, just getting slapped in the face and not retaliating. She essentially said that she was taught to be the bigger person. So she was the bigger person in the moment, and she'll be a better person at Mania. She goes on to have a match with Natalya, which she owns for the first portion, until Sasha Banks comes out. Cause a distraction. Tamina is able to get a super kick in there, and then Natalya ends up owning a lot of the match. At one point, Bianca Belair goes outside the ring where Sasha Banks is on commentary. They get in each other's face. Bianca gives back the receipt for the slap. She slapped Sasha Banks so hard her ring flew off. Like, she knocked the ring off of Sasha's hand. How hard she slapped her. She hits the KOD on Natalya for the win, at which point Sasha Banks comes in, hits the backstabber. By the way, Sasha was definitely uber heel on commentary. However, didn't sound much different from her normal character. Just a little.
She's always been a heel. Always. Sorry, D-Rod, you're wrong. She's always been a heel. Always.
It doesn't matter. Can you hear me yet?
There you go.
There we go.
I got you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She's only a heel if WWE pipes in booze. It doesn't matter if people think she's a bad guy. But going back to the Natalya story, I'm actually more intrigued about this for a very subtle personal reason, and that is for Tamina. Tamina has the longest tenure out of any female employed by WWE that has gone without a championship of any kind. Tamina's been employed by the WWE for over 10 years and has won 0 titles. She's had no women's championship, diva championships, nor tag team. So even if she's a heel and she can't soak it up and cry on screen if she wins, I will be over the moon for Tamina if she actually can get that belt wrapped around her. For me, that's enough for me to tune in if a Natalya match, but it's more or less for Tamina and the feud with the women champs. So that's just my
do you foresee they're going to have maybe like a fatal 4-way for them like they did at 35 and put like 4 of the best women's tag teams in there and they sneak it out and they get it?
I would think they'd have a better chance in a straight up match. However, I feel like they would do a multi-tag match because maybe they'd be worried that they wouldn't draw, because online does kind of drag all 4 competitors through the dirt. You know, my interest does not reflect general interest in the match. So yeah, I could definitely see them doing like a fatal 4-way tag match, triple threat tag match to try and get somebody else in there that's more of a draw. What tag would you put in there that would be a draw though? Like what female tag?
Okay, let's think about this. So over on Raw, we have Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and we have Lana and Naomi, who've always been the buzzkill of the show. On SmackDown, the only other tag you have that for some reason for the last month has had like nothing is the Riot Squad. And so I mean the Riot Squad are uber over every time they're on screen. I love to see them, and I know the internet loves them. But I mean, if the Riot Squad are in the match, I'm going to be pulling for them. So
I would foresee WWE choosing Lana and Naomi because it looks like they've invested a little bit more in them, and Naomi's got a lot of internet chatter about her, especially intrigue with her joining the Hurt Business. And then not to mention, they're both the more baby face than anybody else in the match. They're probably the biggest baby faces out of all the tag teams mentioned. Yeah. So I guess I would do a triple threat. I'd do a triple threat. Tamina and Natalya, the champs, and then Bianca and Lana. And then that way you kind of have a multi-layered story you could tell there too as well.
You mean Naomi?
Naomi, what did I say?
You said Bianca.
Bianca. Jesus Christ. I'm terrible, man.
Yeah,
I shouldn't.
Bianca's got her hands full with the boss.
Yeah. Anyways.
Let's hope so. And if that happens, then I'm with you. Let Tamina get it. And if you're not going to do the Faces of Fear with her and Nia, then let her and Natalie do it.
Damn, wasn't there some intrigue in that first Royal Rumble when they both met up in the middle of the ring? You were like, "Ooh, that looks like a dangerous duo right there." They just never lined up.
And Nia's thrown shade at Tamina and said, "If I have to go through my own family to keep this belt, I will." So by all means, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, nice. We have the the debut of the Eddie Guerrero shirt. How about that?
Yes, there you go.
No, you had Rey Mysterio taking on Dolph Ziggler. Beforehand, we got a little bit of a interview with Rey, and he's talking about how an accomplishment that he wasn't even aware that he doesn't have is a tag team title reign with his son, which I've already said I'm a big supporter of. I think those guys awesome in the ring, and it helps Dom get a bunch of reps in and not expose him too early. Ray has a match with Dolph Ziggler. At one point, Dolph powerbombs Ray huge over the barricade. And then as Dom checks on him, Dominic gets super kicked. Later in the match, they're back in the ring. Ray's going for a 619. Robert Roode gets in the way. Dominic gets involved. Both parties end up outside the ring. As Ray goes to springboard off the ropes to the outside, he gets hit with a zigzag. That for me was
beautiful.
I was like, that is a wrap, son. But Ray kicked out valiantly. Look at him getting some false finishes still on SmackDown. ends up hitting a 619 for the win. This story is definitely happening. Him and his son are going for gold.
Yes.
I'm here for it, man. I'm definitely here for it. They'll make better champs than I hate to say it, but they will make better champs than Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Hell, week in and week out, people forget that the Dirty Dogs are even champs. You know, it's very quiet.
Yeah, Vanessa said that in the chat, and it's funny. About a year ago, I had a conversation with some friends about this very thing. I called it the tragedy that is Dolph Ziggler. This guy has 3 signature moves that almost every single one of them gets kicked out of, and he has. And he has.
What's he got? He's got the Famouser and the Zigzag. What's the other one?
He's got the Famouser, the Zigzag, and the Super Kick.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all 3 of them get kicked out of all the time. So the dude doesn't even have a legit finisher. And he, at the beginning stages of his career, after the Spirit Squad scrap, he started to get real good attention, and he actually won the World Championship with John Cena in the picture and all that. And it was weird because for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason the comparison started to be made. He's like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And instead of immediately going, holy crap, no, I can't do that, and he started and drift away from that, he began using it as a gimmick, and he began tuning up the band, wearing similar patterns on his tights, growing his hair the way Shawn used to have it, and it was a death sentence for him. Now he's immediately now he's immediately become the guy that can get anybody else over and is a great worker in the ring, even though on any given day he steals the show with his matches. Yeah. But unfortunately, because he's not Shawn, he's not going to get Shawn treatment. And I hate it for him because he's been in the WWE 16 years. And when I look at him, I don't put him.
Real, man.
I don't and exactly right there. I don't put him in the same category with Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, fill in the blank on the other side, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, any of these top 10 guys that run the WWE and they're faces of the WWE. Dolph should be in that conversation, and he never will be because of the crap he did to his own career by being in the same conversation with Shawn. Yeah. And I hate that for him. So now he's forever going to be the guy that makes everybody else stars, and he himself will never be a star.
The last time he was able to really get over was when Miz and Maurice were locking down that Intercontinental belt, and he kept losing, and so he put his career on the line. And that was the last time I emotionally got invested, and I was very moved when he won, especially overcoming all of Miz's ways that he cheats and stuff. And it was such an organic win. And it's a shame that they dropped the ball so quickly afterwards with him losing the Intercontinental belt. And you knew it was a wrap when he won the U.S. title afterwards.
Right.
And instead of riding any of that momentum, they had this idea of him turning heel by relinquishing the belt, like leaving it in the ring, leaving for a very brief period of time, and then his whole story arc was to come back and win back the belt that he relinquished. It was such sabotage to such a last ditch effort on his popularity. In which case, like I said, he thrived. Everybody was invested in that career versus title match with him and Miz. That was one of the hugest talking points at the time. And it's a shame, that it ended the way for Ziggler. Now, on the other side of the coin, it elevated Miz to legendary status as far as an IC champ goes. To this day, I still try to remind people at every point, The Miz is less than a month-long Intercontinental reign from holding the IC belt more combined days than anybody else in history. That is such an awesome thing. I think they're probably reserving.
I want him to break that record. I want him to win it 2 more times to break that record. I want Miz to be the final holder of the Intercontinental Championship and then say from now on, no one else will wear this except me. This is my belt. You can rename this the Miz Championship. Put it in the locker. Put it in the loft and birth a new mid-card championship because forever and always the Intercontinental Championship will be synonymous with the Miz as it should be. I agree. I agree.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure they're aware of that and they're reserving it for his retirement. Like probably reserving that for, go out as the all-time greatest Intercontinental champ. Yeah.
No, but I agree with you, man. It's sad. Like I said, 16 years Dolph's been there. 16 years he's been making everybody else shine and putting over everybody else. He's made Robert Roode's career resurgent as a tag team wrestler. But again, Robert Roode was glorious. He was already an NXT champion, and we need Dolph Ziggler to bring him back into relevance again. No. I don't like it, dude. I don't like it. He's gonna go down and be that Hall of Famer that's gonna be, not the face of the Hall of Fame. He's gonna be the third or fourth guy on the ticket. When if you really look at his skill set,
he'll probably be inducted while he's active. Like that's the thing is, he'll probably be inducted while he's an active roster member. True.
Yeah, he's even gone on record to say, I think it was on After the Bell, he went on record to say the reason he started up his comedy career is because he wants to make sure that he's successful at something, because apparently in the eyes of the internet, in the eyes of the office, he's not worth putting all the chips on. I've seen some of his
comedy,
so
you're gonna need to pivot, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. Yeah. I've seen some of his comedy. It's let's just say maybe there's a specific audience, and I'm just not that audience.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Final segment of the evening is the moment everyone been waiting for. Adam Pearce to come out, make his announcement. All three guys involved get individual entrances. Edge, Roman Reigns, and of course Daniel Bryan. Essentially, Adam Pearce says, listen, everybody makes sense here. Roman Reigns makes sense. Mm-hmm. You're only signed on for one match, one night. Edge makes sense that, you won the Royal Rumble. Bryan makes sense that there is a double standard that, we shouldn't, we're not going to permit him to pick the bones while we let Roman Reigns do that. So he, in his best William Regal War Games impression, announces that it will be a triple threat match at WrestleMania to nobody's surprise. But I'm pretty sure everybody welcomes. At this point, a brawl ensues. Edge gets the upper hand, starts landing spears on everybody. And then in a shocking moment, the rated R superstar returns, unhinged Edge, whether they're going to give him a new label, go by an old label. This is the visceral character that we all have missed. I said it in the chat. I felt like this was really the return of Edge. But he looks to actually deliver a concerto to both Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. Completely snapped. Of course, Jey Uso makes the save for Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan at this point has had enough time to recover. He's able to get out of there. Edge just drops the chair in the middle of the ring, sits on it, stares down the hard cam menacingly. Fantastic. Yes.
It was awesome. It was so great.
Yeah,
it was so great. I have missed him. I know you're not supposed to. I know you're supposed to hate the heels, love the baby faces, and I, to the best of my ability, try to live in a kayfabe world where that is the case. But just like Randy Orton, there comes a point with a legacy of a character that the thing that you used to hate about him, now you respect and love him for it. And with Edge, it is that unhinged, ultimate opportunist, strategically thinking, always living in the moment, rated R rock star superstar that he is. And Kyle, I don't know if you remember, but when we did our Royal Rumble recap, I told you what I want is for Roman to put this guy down and be the most hated heel in all of professional wrestling by burying him, spearing him 3 times with a spear, which is Edge's move, and everything, and get all the massive nuclear heat he can. I'm changing my tune as of right now. I want Daniel Bryan and Roman to serve this up to Edge on a silver platter and give him the title that he never lost on the 10-year to the day anniversary of the day he announced he had to retire due to a neck injury. On the very day, 10 years later, let Edge host up that Universal Championship. If it's even for 1 month, I don't care. But the final picture of WrestleMania 37 needs to be the Rated R Superstar holding the title he never lost.
And what a swerve it would be if everyone has been envisioning it as the most babyface comeback, when in fact it is the heel Edge as champion, and you actually are booing this man. What a mastery in because at this point the concerto's on the table for him. You know what I mean? How big of a heel would Edge be if Roman Reigns is somehow taken out, by him and Daniel Bryan, and then Edge delivers a concerto to a previously concussed Daniel Bryan, threatening his career, and then that's how he gets his belt back. Dude, that's if WWE's got the balls to go that way, I will commend them.
Wow,
because that is way better than leaning into the triumphant babyface comeback. So,
Daniel Bryan already had it. He already did that at WrestleMania 30, and it's, by the way, it's the exact same story.
But the opposite outcome. The opposite outcome. You get to run it back and do the opposite and squash that valiant, hard-working babyface.
You had Randy Orton, who was you had Randy Orton, who was the top of his game, double champion. You had the returning legend who won the Royal Rumble, which is Batista, and then you had the underdog Daniel Bryan, who doesn't deserve to get in there, but he gets in there. It's the same story, but and Daniel Bryan would do it. He would lay down his head on that chair for Edge in a heartbeat. I know he would. Here's my only concern, man. Does this take heat off of Roman?
No.
Because we need Roman to stay this bad guy. We need him to stay.
Yeah, no. There's going to be like a draft afterwards. There'll be call-ups. So you get to mix everything up. And Roman will get to continue with stuff. If they were to go this route. Roman Reigns very well may just retain, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
He could. In this scenario, I don't think it would hurt Roman. His But anything,
what I'm saying is the very next Friday on SmackDown, Edge holds up the championship. Roman comes darting out to the ring. At that point, is Edge babyface again? Is Roman getting face attention now? I just don't want it to ruin this tribal chief character that is so perfect right now.
Yeah. Now, early reports were that WWE wanted the heel turn for Roman to be a vehicle to make him into the ultimate babyface, because even they recognize to make a good, like one of the best good guys, they have to be good, at being a bad guy, because it's like backward in logic, but it really is how pro wrestling works. Great heels get respect of people and then make them even better baby faces. Unless you're Sasha Banks.
Interesting.
But
you got my wheels turning now, man.
Yeah, so because at that point, no one likes a clean cut baby face. Everybody loves their baby face to have an edge. No pun intended again. But so it's going to come a point when somebody has to be more heel than Roman to make him the badass baby face that WWE always wanted. As long as he ain't coming out there jerking off his wrist and and leaning into the suffering succotash like promos, and he's sticking with his tribal chief, but still at the end of the day, what's he trying to do? Feed his family, be a good leader. You know what I mean? His deranged message is still face, at least in his mind, so it wouldn't be too big of a transition to go to it eventually.
Crazy idea. What if at WrestleMania 39, the face in that match is Roman and Rock is the heel?
Oh, hell yeah.
Would you ever see that coming?
That would be all awesome. Sense in the damn world. Yeah. You need to, for you and then anybody else that's listening to this part, this would be actually a great tie off is check out the YouTube channel Parts Fun Known and Adam Blampier booking John Cena's final run. Spoiler, it's as a heel, and it really ties into how we're talking, and it's a great listen, by the way.
Yeah.
Anytime you listen to any of like how Adam Blampier fantasy book stuff, you're kind of astonished that this guy has never like had a WWE writer's interview or something, because the man's extremely talented. Like he's extremely
which by the way, speaking on your awesome idea with John Cena, did you watch Randy Orton and Stone Cold's Broken Skull?
Yes, I did. While I was building patio furniture.
Okay. At the very end of that, like the last 5 minutes, when Stone Cold says, "What's left for you to do?" he brings up that he and John are both going after the number 17, and
17,
and he says that, you know, by that time, he said the number 14 championship meant the world to him, and so 15 and 16 will too. I think Randy wants that story, and I think John would do it, and I think in that story, if John's the heel and Randy's the baby face because he's the ultimate worker for the WWE, and John's the Hollywood guy wanting to come back and just get it for, you know, a prop and get it for the moniker and not get it because it means exactly, and not get it because it actually means something the way it means something to Randy. That'd be a great story.
It's a hell of a good one too, man. We're on the precipice of some good stories that probably will never see the light of day, but hey, it's fun to picture them. But I want to, at this point, we'll wrap it up. We can keep talking afterwards, but we'll go ahead and wrap up the official recording. We want to thank you guys for joining us. If you would like to support SmackDown Podcast, please head on over to patreon.com/SmackDown Podcast. We got a bevy of rewards. We have stickers, t-shirts. We can even sponsor your content on our show. Another thing is you can give us your video recorded unpopular opinions. Bama, you're going to be on UWO bright and early in the morning with me, with the UK boys. I'm actually going to go from this to finish setting up the show for that. But
I got to find my inner heel.
But you guys, please head on over there, support the show. To all our current Patreons, we really greatly appreciate you.
You guys are awesome.
If you're up in the morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, check out UWO. We will be live right back here on Putting You Over's Twitch channel. But like always, folks, until next time, y'all have a good one.